Cold War era significantly influenced music, film, and television. As art forms such as film and television were becoming more popular, artists and celebrities were able to easily voice their opinions to a wider audience. However, the music industry arguably saw the most change during this era. Starting in the 1940s, jazz was becoming more and more popular. Artists such as Duke Ellington, Glenn Miller, and Artie Shaw led the way in the new genre of big band jazz. Influenced by the swinging beats and the sounds of a full group, came the infamous rise of rock and roll. Following World War II, the baby boom brought about a new young generation. Rock became the music of the young people, the same generation that fought in the Vietnam War. As support for the war decreased, the young people began to voice their opinions in rock and roll. As the generation fighting the war and creating the music, anti-war sentiments in rock music increased. Artists such as Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, and John Lennon all contributed to the anti-war influence in rock music. One such example would be Bob Dylan's Masters of War, where the artist suggests that the government forced soldiers to fight without knowing the struggles they face. Music became a platform for artists and activists to easily voice their opinions during the Cold War era.
In the 1950s, TV became the biggest form of mass media since the printing press. With it came news broadcasts and commercials that showed the public events from the Cold War and advertised a wide range of views. Edward Murrow, a Cold War news broadcaster, was well liked by the American public. When he found out that Joseph McCarthy was planning on condemning him a communist, Murrow's career seemed to be in danger. Not accepting defeat, Murrow launched a newsreel of pictures and phrases from McCarthy, putting McCarthy in a bad light. Murrow's report ridiculed a man who was admired by extreme anti-communists. Margaret Higgins, one of the few women in the news media field, went over to Korea to do her broadcasting. She desired to show the American public the devastating effects of the Korean War on the American military and questioned whether the war was worth American efforts to fight communism. Some of the most important commercials during this time period were political. In 1964, when Lyndon B. Johnson ran up against his opponent Barry Goldwater in the presidential election, he launched an attack ad called Daisy. The ad was simple and short, but portrayed a powerful message. Nuclear warfare would not be used during his presidency. Johnson wanted to avoid nuclear war to ease Cold War tensions, unlike Goldwater, who was not afraid to use nuclear weapons if necessary.
During the Cold War, Hollywood went into high gear producing anti-communist films. Starting in the late 1930s, anti-communist films became widely popular all across America, and their effect on the American public was devastating. The film Ninotchka, 1939, starring Greta Garbo and Melvyn Douglas, promoted capitalism through a comedic satire. The film was about three Russians who go to Paris to sell stolen jewelry from the Russian Revolution. They become seduced by Ninotchka, Greta Garbo, and the capitalist society in Paris and fall in love. The film was a huge success in the United States and kicked off the anti-communist film production. The movie was later turned into a Broadway musical entitled Silk Stockings. That was just as successful. Both productions pictured communist Russia as gray and rigid under Stalin's rule. American citizens became increasingly scared that this society could come to America, and these films promoted this idea, egging on the Red Scare.
In conclusion, music, film, and television all impacted the Cold War in different ways. Music promoted peace and war through jazz and rock and roll. Film was a big player in the Red Scare, depicting communism and capitalism in different lights. Finally, TV became the number one source for information about the Cold War, keeping the American public up to date. The Cold War was an ever-changing era, but music, film, and television played an important role in impacting and demonstrating public opinion.